Demontaze Juicy Duncan. I'm fighting at the Henry Clay Center on this Saturday. Come out, I'm gonna put on a show for you.
From the Podcast Detroit studios and Zoom everywhere else, The Making of Champions. Professional boxers inspiring amateur athletes to become champions. Presented by Joe Louis, champion of them all bourbon, in association with USA Boxing, Golden Gloves of America, and BigFightWeekend.com. Join your hosts, Tanya Cole and Marquise Johns, with special guests from around the world of amateur and pro boxing, celebrating the legacy of Joe Louis, whose status as the first African-American national hero showed the importance of being a leader and a role model inside and outside of the ring.
Good evening and welcome to the Making of Champions. I am Marquise Johns, the senior writer for BigFightWeekend.com. Normal co-host Tanya Cole is on assignment for the time being. Today's program, we are joined out of Louisville, current prospect, currently 2-0 as well, undefeated, who has a fight coming up next month, starting in June. Has several fights next month. We're going to talk to him about that and a lot more as well. We are joined by Demontaze Juicy Duncan. Demontaze, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Pretty good, man. Well, first things first, I see you in the culture of training, man. I'll just ask you flat out like everybody else does, man. How's training camp working for you guys, and what have you guys been working on since the last fight?
And the training camp is going great. We're working on everything that's in the book. I'm just getting ready for the next fight.
Okay. Yeah, I want to ask you guys as well, because I saw your fight on I think I saw it on your Instagram last week, man, about your first round knockout against Mike Babb. Wasn't much tape on it, man, because you got him out there pretty quickly.
Nice right hand from Duncan. Oh, Duncan a little over aggressive. It looks like he wants to end this one quick.
He just needs to settle down and ease into this, and it'd be good for him to get all the rounds in for the first fight, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Just to have that experience.
Just to get the experience. Oh, what a left hook.
Hand.
Yeah, I don't see this one going the distance, though.
Woo! Yeah, Juicy's on fire, man. He don't play around.
No, he is very serious in that
I've
ring.
really never seen him take it easy on anyone.
Oh, no.
He don't fight like that.
No, he's not wired that way.
He's not trained that way either.
No, he doesn't.
Oh.
Wilson is down and he's not getting up. That was a hook to the body that took it completely out of him.
Man, just walk me through that process of what went down.
All right, so this is what went down. Welcome to it.
Yeah, walk him through it. He wants to hear the whole thing. He wants to hear what happened. You know.
All right, so in the weigh-ins, there's a little bit of trash talking, composure. I really don't talk about stress, so I just told him I'd show him on fight night. And then the fight night came, he got put out. He got put to bed.
Oh, he started at the weigh-in?
Yeah, he talked. He tried to use the veteran move and try to intimidate Demontaze a little bit. So when you look at Demontaze, he's only 18 years old and he's still got a baby face.
Yeah.
So sometimes adults don't respect him as an athlete. They kind of treat him as maybe he's too young for the sport. And at the weigh-in, he tried to intimidate Demontaze a little bit. And we're not really trash talkers, so Demontaze told him we'll see on fight night. And he got him out there in 52 seconds, which is what we was trying to do, put a lot of pressure on early and go ahead and get the fight out there. So I suggested to Demontaze that the best case scenario for me as the trainer was to go up the steps one time. And he was able to deliver that for me. So I had an easy night of work, and he did as well. So we were very fortunate to get the win, get the knockout. And, God bless that guy for giving us that opportunity to box him. And he was a good fighter. And now we're on to the next show, June 19th.
Well, let's say hello to senior writer, BigFightWeekend.com, Marquise John.
Ali means everything. Ali set a big example for Louisville, Kentucky. I plan on saying the next one.
So we were fortunate to get to have dinner with Muhammad Ali in 2015. Demontaze was only 13 years old at the time. And Muhammad and his wife Lonnie read an article about Demontaze, and he's got an older brother named Demetrius that was boxing at the time. And they were very gracious, and they gave us the opportunity to come and eat dinner with them. Muhammad Ali actually gave Demontaze a little bit of advice. He said, "You remind me of me and my brother when we were kids." And it's a blessing being from the same city as him. It's such an honor to just say that you're from Louisville, Kentucky, because that's where he's from, and he always represented our city very well. And Demontaze goes by the moniker, the nickname, the People's Champ, because that was obviously what Muhammad was called. And we just look to try to fulfill some of his legacy and continue on with what he's already offered the world. And Demontaze isn't the next Muhammad Ali. He's going to be the first Demontaze Duncan. But we love Muhammad. We love his influence. He was a man of the people. The boxing aspect of it was very profound for us because he's a boxer from Louisville, and that's what we're attempting to be as well. But the humanitarian and what he meant to people and how he treated people is the biggest legacy that I think that we could carry on and offer people all around the world. If we get the opportunity to go and meet them, is we can be an ambassador for what Muhammad, offered people, and that was a hope. So we love Muhammad. We could talk all night if you want to talk about Muhammad. I know we go actually on fight night, April 24th, the day of the fight. We went up to Muhammad Ali's grave site that morning. And there was a boxing team that came in town from St. Louis. A coach named Tracy Henderson brought some kids up, and he asked me if we had any time. And I said, yeah, I'd like to take you to his grave site. So that morning before the fight, we went up there in the rain, and we stood at his grave site, and we talked about Muhammad Ali just a few hours before his fight. So that's something that we're very proud of, being from Louisville. His influence all around the world is so significant, and we're honored just to get to talk about the guy as an honor, man. So thank you for bringing him up.
Absolutely. Talk about Demontaze Duncan. Also, a co-host, Tanya Cole, is back from assignment. Tanya, how you doing? I heard you chimed in on the dinner portion of the program.
Well. Yeah, how's it going? Good to see you.
Hey, what's
Good
up,
to see
Tanya?
you.
How you doing?
Hey. So I hear that you're talking about Muhammad Ali. I already know that's what you're talking about. Have you had a chance to visit his training camp up north?
No, he trained when he went pro in 1960. He originally started training here in Louisville, and then after his first professional fight, he moved his camp down to Miami. And we've never been up to Deer Lake up in Pennsylvania. I've heard that they've refurbished it all and they brought it all back, and it's very nice now. It would be an honor to get to go up and see that, but no, we haven't been there.
Yeah, that's definitely something to see. And Marquise, I don't know if you brought up, but these guys need to meet our friend Iceman John Scully.
Yes.
And we could talk for weeks on end about Muhammad Ali. Have you met John Scully
Yeah, we'd
before?
like that. No, we haven't met him. I'm not familiar with John. Yeah, we would like that.
Well, we're supposed to see him next weekend, and so we'll chat you up and maybe make that happen.
We'll make that work.
He's a huge Muhammad Ali fan as well, and visited the gravesite as well, and can talk for days on end about his hero and his legacy as well. So I want to go back to. Go ahead.
Just a small connection. Demontaze actually lived on Muhammad Ali Boulevard here in Louisville. So it's a city street that was named after Muhammad Ali in the late 1980s. And then he also lived on the same street about 3 blocks from where Muhammad Ali grew up on Grand Avenue. So we've got when we say Muhammad Ali's everything to us, we were fortunate to run on the same streets that he's ran on, and we've been in the same schools that he went to. He's such a privilege, and it's just an honor being from the same city as the guy. So we love Ali. So, we want to make sure that we're adamant about that. And I use some of Muhammad Ali's format that he used to promote himself. I tried to use some of that in the promotion of Demontaze, and not really wanting to cherry pick or ride his coattails, but just to honor the man because he was so profound in his humanitarian work and his boxing ability that we love him that much. So it's just a privilege and honor. So, you know, and I know the makings of champions. He started off, Muhammad did, fighting here in Louisville on a TV show called Tomorrow's Champions.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to the name of y'all's podcast. And, you know, hopefully one day Demontaze could fulfill that legacy and be a world champion out of Louisville.
Well, I think he's a champion already, given his story and his background and how he met you. Can you tell us a little bit about how you all teamed up?
Yeah.
How did your relationship start?
So this is my little baby right here. He's my guy. We started I started training fighters about 9 years ago, and I was looking for some young athletes to build my team around. And with the recommendation of a guy that I was working with, he said, I know where some real rough kids are. And I went down, they were playing basketball at a small Baptist church downtown. And at that time I talked to him. We started training immediately. I recognized right away that those guys had the ability, athletic ability to do the sport. But the first qualities and characteristics that I recognized in him was the ability to overcome obstacles in his home life. So Demontaze grew up impoverished, like a lot of young men, and specifically a lot of young Black men here in our city. So we still live in a pretty segregated area, and it was my goal to try to find some people from the neighborhood that I grew up in and try to give back. So I grew up right around the corner from where he lived at. So it was like a ironic coincidence that I was able to meet him and his brother. They wanted to do it, and the first thing that I told, the first interview we ever did with the local newspaper here in Louisville called the Courier-Journal, they asked me, they said, well, why are you doing this? And I said, I'm not doing this for charity. I'm not doing this because I feel sorry for people or because I want to help kids. I said, I'm looking for champions, and I'm looking for people that can do it. I said, and these kids here have exhibited the qualities of champions, although they hadn't had any boxing matches. And what I meant by that is if they can overcome the things that they had to endure in their personal life and in their childhood, and they were overcoming it, that the boxing would be easy. So we, with my brother's help, he coaches as well, I was able to develop a plan for Demontaze and his brother and several other kids on the boxing team. We got him incorporated into school more. He got his behavior in order. He got to go back to the public schools. His grades got better. There was another big setback that we had. He was living with a relative that perished. He passed away. And at that time, I went to the court system and formally became Demontaze's legal guardian. So that was about 4 years ago. And I've been his legal guardian since. And we lived together. And, you know, I turned him professional in January. And the first thing that I did, this is my recommendation on how we should do things. I said, but you have to hire me. I said, so if you want me to be your coach, you want me to be your trainer, you want to be your manager, you have to tell me that I got the job. And he said, okay. He said, I'm hiring you. So I work for him. I'm privileged to be his coach and his manager and his trainer. And but I work for Demontaze. So he's the boss in this relationship. And I try to make sure I'll talk to him in a little bit. I try to make sure that I do everything possible to make him successful. He graduated high school a year early on the honor roll. He had outstanding attendance. Demontaze works a full-time job, and then we train every day. So if he don't run before he goes to work at 6 a.m., then he runs immediately afterwards, and we train until about 9 p.m. every night. I've never known him to miss a workout. He's one of the hardest working young men that I've ever been around. I've been around some pretty high level athletes, and those qualities I think will allow him to be very successful at this sport. And I'm just privileged to, at this point in time, with him being a professional, to be on his team. And I'm very thankful that he chose me to be his coach. So, but I had to be his parent first. And I had to tell him the truth about it's up to him and the decisions he makes. So I don't control him. I allow him to be a young man and make the right choices. And I'm fortunate to say that he's made all of the right choices. And it's just a huge privilege to be on his team. So that's how our relationship started. And that's where we're at now. And I'm going to keep him busy with fights all summer and into the fall. And hopefully we can get his record up to about maybe 7-0 by the end of the year. And look forward to maybe signing with the major promotion company at the beginning of next year. We've had several offers, but I didn't feel like that it was a good value for where he's at right now. So we decided to stay independent for the time being. We're going to fight regionally. I'm going to try to get his knockout percentage up and get his record up and allow him to just grow as a young man. So he's 18 years old. And he's still a baby. He's still got to cut the grass and take out the trash and all that stuff here at the house. But he's still a young man, little baby to me. And here, when he's a little bit older, maybe 19 or 20, we'll be looking to sign with a major promotion company and take his boxing to the next level.
I got you. So, Demontaze, I have to ask you, since you hired him, why did you hire Coach Nick?
The point of training with somebody that's been there, training on somebody that's been there for you for the rest of your whole life, and actually kept you on the right path.
All right.
And actually got you to the point. If you think about it, I didn't have no titles, I didn't have no trophies until I got in the sport with him. So therefore, why would I trade? Look how far I got now. I could get better. I don't need nobody else. Got me. I'm straight.
So you got the titles, you got the trophies, you graduated a year early, and you got the honor roll. What's been your most important accomplishment to you thus far?
Every day, just make every day count, to be honest. Try my best every day, whatever it takes. But
Whatever
with the
it
sport,
takes.
I can let nobody outwork me.
So some of the things that I think that Demontaze is extremely successful at outside of the boxing is his role that he takes with his nieces and nephews. So he's got some nieces and nephews. He's got several siblings that have children, and I see him take a big leadership role and almost a father figure role in these young people's lives. And that's something that I'm very proud of him for. He's a young man that he's become. He's everything that I think young people should be, and he does things the right way. He works hard. He didn't have it easy. I can promise you, if we were able to walk you through some of the circumstances that he had to overcome to see where he's at now as a young man, it's almost amazing. So he's works full time. Like I said, he holds a full-time job. He pays all of his own bills. He takes care of business. So I'm anticipating some very great things happening for him if he continues on the path and he continues making the right choices that he's been making. So that's me speaking highly of him, but I love him so much, and I'm tough on him, but at the same time, you know, I have to realize that sometimes he's still a kid. You know, he's only 18 years old. So.
Did you get a chance to watch Mike Tyson's The Knockout last night?
No.
No? Did you watch it at all, Marquise?
No.
I did not. I've heard mixed things. From what I gathered from it, though, was that essentially the information from it's nothing new, guys. I mean, it's Tyson. We all know it's Tyson. You know, he fought Holyfield, he bite ears, yada, yada, yada. All that fun stuff.
Right.
The one thing out of the documentary that I thought was strange, though, was, and actually, I want to ask you this, Coach Nick, on this as well, because in the documentary for Mike Tyson's knockout, the narrative that they're spinning on it was that Custom Model was a poor influence on Tyson on his final days. I wanted to ask you point blank, Nick, Coach Nick, do you believe any of that nonsense personally, or do you see anything of that with Tyson just as a whole? Not to go completely off the rails here with this, but
You know, it's control, and I don't know if that was a part of the camp that they were affiliated with, or the money and the fame that was coming with it. Mm-hmm. You know, when you get that big and it happens so fast, there's no way to really prepare for it.
Yeah.
So I don't like you know, Mike Tyson's had an incredible life. He's had a lot of success. I don't regard him as one of the best heavyweights that I've ever seen box, but he's one of the most popular fighters that there's ever been. So
yeah, for
his ability and where he came from and what he achieved, you know, he's a huge success story. I don't know if I don't know enough information about what that coach was doing or not doing at that time. That guy was kind of at the end of his road and the end of his life.
Yeah.
You know, Custom Auto trained Floyd Patterson to be the world champion in 1954. Mm-hmm. And then he trained Mike Tyson to be the world champion in 1986. So we're talking about, you know, 35 years of training people. And he trained the two youngest heavyweight world champions ever, Floyd Patterson and Mike Tyson. So this guy was like 90 years old or something at the time. And things were just getting out of control. I don't know what, you know, I'm sure they sensationalized it on the documentary. I haven't seen it, so I can't speak on the documentary. But, you know, the guy was obviously a great trainer. Mike Tyson was a great fighter. I'm like you. I've done seen so many of the stories and heard all that stuff that, you know, I don't know if I want to hear the next, you know, Mike Tyson story. You know, I love Mike Tyson, but I think it's time for some young people to get some opportunities. We need to focus on changing the narrative away from some of the violence and some of the negativity that these people have been affiliated with, and talk about some of the positive things. Because I know Mike Tyson has donated so much time and money to charities and young people and helping people that I don't want to focus on whatever negative stuff that he's did. You know, he'll answer to that at the end of his life. You know what I mean? So, you know, I when I hear all the negative stuff, especially with that trainer, I just, you know, everybody want to break down somebody and talk bad about them, but you know, that guy helped Mike Tyson as a kid, and he fostered a relationship with him and brought him into his house, and that alone should be commended, and you know, people should talk about that more so than something negative that he did. Because, I mean, man, how much money did they make? How many lives did they influence? How many, you know, kids did they inspire and help and all that? So Mike Tyson's a great man. He's had a lot of flaws as a man, but I don't want to put nobody down like that, man. You know, he's, you know, I'm proud of where Mike's at right now.
Yeah,
absolutely. And what would be your ultimate offer? You talked about looking for the right offer with a promotional company. What would be the company that you're looking for?
Oh, I haven't negotiated with anybody on terms. There's been a couple promotion companies that offered us some fights. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross that bridge. There's several great promotion companies out there. You know, I mean, we can talk about the PBCs, the Top Ranks, the Matchrooms. They've all had Yeah, they've had success with some fighters, and they've had, you know, some disappointments with some fighters. So once I kind of see where Demontaze shakes out in the boxing, we'll go with whatever the best opportunity is for him. So they, you know, like PBC's on Fox Sports. They've got an incredible platform. It would be great to get that opportunity to box on that network. But Top Rank has a similar platform with ESPN, and you know, they're a little bit different companies, and they kind of move fighters differently. But
Yeah,
I'll have to see where Demontaze is at that time. You know, they both got some pluses and minuses. You know what I mean? But you know, I know Demontaze is going to be ready to fight, and I'm not concerned with the fighting part of it. You know, I'm really concerned with more making sure that he's in the right fit, and there's opportunities for him to develop and grow with whatever company it is.
Right. Well, we saw that footage with the Mac Bab fight, and that was pretty intense. And I know that Demontaze, you called that fight when you were on the Wave 3 broadcast, and they asked you to predict how that fight would end, and you said round 1. Indeed, you ended that, I think, 3 minutes into round 1. Tell us about that fight, because I think you stunned him.
Yes, ma'am. But with that fight, I know the type of training and the type of work that I'm putting in going into a fight. And I know the stuff that we do in training can't nobody do. So therefore, I know how what I could do. I know I could get him out of that. Plus, he was talking too much trash. So my intentions was to get him out of there and not let the fight go on too long. So the prediction I made, I already knew I was going to get. It's a mad thing.
Along with talking with that trash, wasn't there sort of a lot of hype behind this gentleman's age compared to yours? And was it a factor at all for you going into the fight?
No, man. No, it really don't matter how old you are. It's about how hard you work and how much time you dedicate to boxing.
And how much time? I know that you work, you do your training, you do your service, you work with family. How much time do you say that you give per day to boxing?
I'm going to say like 6-7 hours a day.
Okay. Okay. And so tell me what about focus? I know on one of your most recent sort of advertisements for your upcoming fights, I think you had a June 4th fight, a June 21st fight, and I think one coming up in August. It talked about focus.
Yeah.
What are your ideas on focus, and how has that supported you as a boxer and in life?
Well, see, if you think about it, if you get off track, you're not gonna get to where you're trying to go. You gotta have tunnel vision in order to, make it in life. So being focused is the key.
So he didn't want to interrupt his training tonight to do this interview, and I told him that it was necessary. So we have to do these type of interviews. He's got to get comfortable talking, but his primary focus as a fighter and as an athlete is always trying to put the most towards the boxing. But I've tried to also get him to understand that it's a business, and he's got to be able to let's take his headgear off real quick so they can see. He's got to be able to showcase it, his ability to speak. So he seems a little aggressive right now, like with some of his answers.
No, not at all.
His focus is really just putting the work in. So he does an excellent job of if we've got a goal, he sticks to the plan. I've told him that, people all the time ask us, hey man, can you go to a barbecue? Hey, does he want to go to the movies? Can we do this? And I said, if the more barbecues he goes to, he's got a better shot at being a chef, than he does a boxer. I said, so
There you go.
he puts so much time into boxing. And I told him, I said, if you want to be a world champion, the only thing that is in the middle of you right now and becoming a world champion is the work required to get there. So every day we put in a lot of work. So I calculated the hours that he's put in for training since he started. And they say that a master of a craft is right at 10,000 hours. So right now, Demontaze is at like 6,200 hours into his training to become a master of boxing. So I think, and I anticipate in about 3.5 years, he'll be at the 10,000 number mark. And at that point in time, I think he'll be a master of the sport, and he'll should be a full grown adult and capable of taking care of himself. And so, you know, we chart everything, we count it all down, but he's at like 6,300 hours right now. So, you know, and he'll average about, you know, 850 hours per year training going into trying to get to that 10,000 hour mark. So he's got a lot of focus. I will say that, and you know, get up here and show him some more love. Look, we want to tell you all, Marquise, thank you, and Tanya, thank you all so much for inviting us on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, this is fantastic. Thank you very much.
No, absolutely. I know that you've said that if you're going to put in the time, get results. Tell us about your upcoming fights. Tell us how we can follow you and Demontaze so that we can keep track of what you're doing.
Yeah.
So Demontaze is on Instagram and Facebook. He's Demontaze _Duncan on the Instagram. That's his handle. Demontaze Duncan on Facebook. I'm only on the Facebook, and I do occasionally post on the YouTube. I do want to try to expand those platforms at some point in time. But anyone, I think I only got like 2,500 friends. So anybody can add me as a friend. I still got a lot of room for friends. I think he does too on the Facebook. You're full on Facebook. Yeah. So he's saying he's at 5,000 on Facebook. So you probably got to follow him on the Instagram if you want to keep up with him. I do try to put material out on him every day. And then I try to share it into a lot of the groups, the boxing groups and some of the other groups, to try to increase his fan base and just keep people up to date with him. He's got an incredible backstory going all the way back to his childhood. Hopefully, with the right platform, he'll be able to discuss some of that when he gets a little bit more mature and comfortable talking about it. But you know, you're gonna see him fighting because we're gonna try to keep him busy all year. I try to fight him every month. His upcoming fight in Pittsburgh, I don't think is going to happen. We were unable to come up to an agreement on that match. So, and that's typical in a lot of young prospects fights that kind of fall through. So I've got him scheduled for June 19th in Shelbyville, Kentucky. We're going to turn around and I think we're going to be able to fight in July. I was telling Marquise the date. It's the third weekend of July, but then we've got another homecoming here in Louisville, which is August 28th that he'll be fighting. So by the end of the summer, we should he should be maybe 5-0 by the end of August. We anticipate going out to Las Vegas for a mini camp or a training camp for about 10 days with some pretty high-level fighters out there, and that'll be at the end of June. And just gonna keep him busy, keep him active. We pulled up on Shakur Stevenson down in Houston. I said, we got the opportunity. Some people called me and said, hey man, we can get you some rounds with Shakur if you want to go. So we jumped in the car and drove 20 hours to go to Houston just to box Shakur for a few hours. So we did that last summer. We jumped in the car. We drove all the way to Miami Beach and boxed some of the top prospects down there. And Demontaze he's done extremely well. We don't post any of the sparring, you know, just some of our training stuff. But he's boxed some of the best fighters in the world, and they know him. So if next time y'all get a top prospect on there, ask them if they boxed Demontaze and see what their response is, you know. But they'll know him.
You know what? I want to ask you about that, Coach Nick, because there was an old video of some of his old amateur stuff that we got. You guys traveled up to our buddy Rashawn Jones in Soul City Boxing. I saw a fight that he had with one of his campmates up there. I think it was Chris Jones. How do you like Rashawn actually out of Toledo?
Rashawn's an outstanding trainer. He's a young guy, and he's had a lot of success very early in his career. I'm real proud of those guys. We've boxed against them. They came down to Louisville several times.
Yeah.
Whenever we see them at boxing tournaments, it's always mutual and cordial. Rashawn is a very impressive young trainer. I like their whole camp. I like the gym. Big O, he's a character, but he's always been 100 with us. And the thing that I like most about them is that they're not afraid to compete, and they box and you know, they lay it on the line. So they got outstanding fighters up there. Chris Jones is a really good fighter. Some of my other boxers boxed some other kids out of that camp. We won a few, we lost a few. Demontaze and Chris split 1-1. And it was just a privilege to get to know those guys and train with them. Toledo's got some other outstanding fighters. We got to see Jared Anderson box down in Houston. And you know, I can't speak on what was going on in some of the sparring, but man, he's a dog. You know, he's a tough fighter. You know, I know Coach Wright, Lamar Wright up there in Toledo.
Okay.
He's got some outstanding fighters. Robert Easter's dad, you know, he's outstanding trainer. There's some good boxing in Toledo.
All right. So I'd like to thank you once again, Coach Nick, Demontaze. Thanks for coming on the program. We got to do this again once you got a couple more W's on the board, man. We get used to the process of answering the questions, you know, asking the same 6 questions like most interviews the boxers do all the time. You know, how's training camp? How'd the fight go? All that fun stuff. Gotta get you guys back on the program again, guys.
Hey, thanks, Marquise. Thank you, Tanya. God bless you all. We'll see y'all next time.
Absolutely. And for Tanya, who is cashing out here, I am Marquise Johns. You can find me on Twitter at Weak Sauce Radio or the website bigfightweekend.com. But until next time, you can find us always here at the Making of Champions on Podbeam and on YouTube. Have a good night.